Doing our lesson on review from grade 9, which is graphing from the equation y equals mx plus b form. So to start, I hope there's a few things that you remember. So we're going to look at our m. Our m is our slope. So there's a couple things. Our m is our slope. Our slope here can determine how far you travel up or down from a point and right or left from a point. So that is our rise over our run. The next thing we're going to look at is our b value. So we have our b here. Our b is our y-intercept. Y-intercept is exactly what it looks like. You are going to be the point that you cross the y-axis. And again, remember that your y-axis is your vertical axis. So that's our m and our b. Our m and our b are typically things that you know, that you're given in an equation. Our y and our x are some things that you can find. But our y and our x here are things that are called variables. So they're letters called variables. These things you could be given your y and solve for your x, or you could be given your x and solve for your y. So we're going to move to an example here. So to start off, we're going to graph the linear relationship represented by the equation y equals 2x plus 3. So there's a couple things I want you to point out right away. That you have your slope, that is your m. So our slope, our m, is 2. And we have our y-intercept as 3, positive 3. They're all positive there. What we're going to do with these is you're going to start with your y-intercept when you're graphing. Since your y-intercept is 3, you're going to look, okay, well I have my y here, that's my y-axis, there's my x-axis. It's where I cross my y-intercept. So I have a point right at 3 there. You'll see a red point coming in. So the next thing I'm going to do is apply my slope from where my y-intercept is. So I'm going to say, well, my slope again is rise over run. And we know that it's equal to 2. But you got to remember here that it's not just 2, it's 2 over 1. So anytime you don't have a denominator there, it's always over 1. So what we're going to do is apply our slope from our first point. We know that our slope is 2 over 1. It's positive, so we're going to be traveling up 2 and right 1. So from this point, we're going to go up 2, right 1. Plot a point there. I'm going to plot a point in a second. Up 2, right 1, plot a point. So let me plot the 2 points that I was going to do there. So we have our up 2 over 1 right there, up 2 over 1 right there. So we have some new points on our graph. This one doesn't want to come in. So we have up 2 over 1 again. Let me plot this one point. So from here, you have a few points. You're going to be able to graph your line. So we're going to connect all of our points with a line. So the line should travel through all of your points. Add some arrowheads on the end of the line, and you have graphed y equals 2x plus 3. We are going to do one more example. So that's your graph right there of that equation. So our next example here, I'm going to ask you to graph the linear relationship represented by the equation y equals negative 1 over 2x minus 3. So from here, there's a couple things that we want to point out right away. Again, that we have our slope. So our slope here is m equals negative 1 over 2. We know that we have a negative there, so that means that we're going to be traveling a different way than we started off on the first example. This first example, we had a positive, so we traveled up. Negative, we're going to travel down. Since the negative was applied to our numerator, it doesn't apply to our denominator, so we're going to still travel right. That's what we're going to do with our slope. But before we graph anything with that, we have to look at our y-intercept. So our y-intercept here is negative 3. So b equals negative 3. So from here, you're going to go on your y-axis, our vertical axis, go down 3, and plot a point. So once we've plotted that point, that's when we can start applying our slope to this point. So we plotted our y-intercept. Now we're going to look at our slope. Well, we're going to travel down 1, right 2, and I want you to put a point right there. I'm going to just put a point in green here, if you can see it. Then we're going to go down 1, right 2 again, and we're going to put a point right here. Since we have a few points there already, we are going to connect them with a line. And again, remember, once you have your line, I want you to draw some little arrowheads on the end. And we are all done for tonight. So I will see you guys tomorrow.